It usually starts in a quiet, isolated space, just a bright cursor, pulsing steadily in the dark of an empty text box. You type a question, conversational threads, with a machine that seems to understand your exact train of thought. But when you return the next day and pick up right where you left off, you hit a wall. The machine has completely forgotten you. We fall into a very specific psychological trap here. As humans, we assume that comprehension and intelligence require a continuous, episodic memory. If someone understands you today, they should naturally recognize you tomorrow. The machine didn't forget you, though. It never actually knew you. Artificial memory operates on 3 distinct mechanical lifespans, completely removed from human persistence. The first lifespan is training memory. This is the permanent foundation, allowing it to process language, recall world history, and function as an assistant. This foundation is not formed by memorizing individual facts. During its creation, the system ingested vast oceans of human data, compressing all that text into raw statistical patterns. These patterns are permanently baked into the model's weights. Once training ends, this rigid structure is completely unchanging. It holds enormous general knowledge, but your private documents and specific projects exist entirely outside of it. This explains why training memory has a definitive cutoff date. The data collection stopped at a specific moment in time, rendering the machine genuinely ignorant of any event that occurred after its final training run. It also resolves a very common user confusion. You might wonder how a system can know the intricate details of Renaissance oil painting techniques, but have absolutely no idea what your specific research paper is about. You simply weren't in the training data. Training memory is universal and frozen. Every person using the system interacts with the exact same model. It is a shared reference library for humanity, not a personal diary for the user. The second lifespan is context memory. If training memory is the frozen past, context memory is the immediate present. It is the temporary workspace where your conversation takes place. Every time you hit send, the machine rereads the entire chat history from top to bottom. This scanning creates the flawless illusion of continuity. But this workspace has a strict limit. When full, older messages are completely pushed out. Unlike the permanence of training data, context memory is entirely fragile. When you close the tab, the window vanishes. Absolutely nothing carries forward to tomorrow. That comforting feeling of being heard, understood, and recognized exists solely within the fragile temporary boundary of this open window. The final lifespan is retrieval memory. Because the sudden amnesia between sessions is jarring, many products build an external artificial bridge to mimic long-term persistence. The reality here is that the underlying AI model still has not learned or remembered anything about you. The neural network itself remains exactly as oblivious as it was the day it was trained. Instead, specific platforms use a completely separate database. As you chat, it extracts and stores your preferences away from the model. In a new session, the system retrieves these facts, injecting them as nothing more than additional input on the call. Subjectively, when the machine asks how your Renaissance art project is going, it feels like genuine human recognition. Mechanically, a script just handed the model a sticky note with your interests written on it. Cross-conversation memory is not a sign of an evolving digital mind. It is merely a well-organized external database, passing reminders to a system that wakes up empty every single day. When you combine these 3 lifespans, the frozen training data, the fleeting context window, and the selective retrieval database, their invisible collision creates the daily behavioral strangeness users experience. It explains why uploaded files seem to vanish, why instructions are selectively forgotten, and why we assume the machine is actively ignoring our specific requests from last week. It also reveals the futility of trying to teach the machine your preferences through conversation. Repeating how you like your emails formatted works for today's session, but you cannot update the model's foundational architecture by talking to it. The machine's mechanisms are purely statistical. It has patterns encoded in its weights, but it is entirely devoid of episodic human experience or emotional attachment. The AI is a highly reactive surface. It has no continuous internal life. It only reflects the immediate shape and context of whatever you place directly in front of it. Once you separate how these memories function, you can reframe the tool entirely. It is not a digital companion growing alongside you. It is a remarkably capable mirror, bounded entirely by the present moment. And when that chat window finally closes, the context dissolves. The machine returns to the dark, waiting in perfect amnesia to meet you again for the very first time.